It was a bitter winter afternoon in North Ridge, Montana. The kind of cold that seeps into your bones no matter how many layers you wear. I had just finished loading the truck and was about to pull away when I noticed a dog standing near the edge of the road. At first glance, he looked like any other stray. Thin, dirty, clearly living. Rough. But something about him made me slow down. He wasn't barking. He wasn't wagging his tail. He wasn't trying to come closer for food. He just stood there watching me with an expression I couldn't quite place. Then he started pacing back and forth a few steps toward my truck, then away again, over and over, glancing at me as if afraid I might leave. His body was tense, his movements frantic but not aggressive. That's when I realized this dog wasn't lost. He was desperate. Suddenly he stopped. To my shock, the dog slowly stood up on his two back legs. His body trembled in the freezing air as he lifted his front paws and pressed them together, almost like a prayer. He looked straight at me, eyes wide and pleading. It didn't feel like an animal begging for food. It felt like a silent cry for help. My chest tightened. I knew then this wasn't a normal encounter. I opened the truck door and the cold hit my face like a slap. If it felt this unbearable after only seconds, I couldn't imagine what this dog had been enduring out here all day. I hesitated just for a moment, then stepped out. The dog immediately dropped back onto all fours and began to walk away, stopping every few steps to make sure I was following. He led me across the snow toward an old collapsing shed behind an abandoned property. With every step, his anxiety grew. He whined softly, his pace uneven, as if he feared we were already too late. When I looked inside the shed, my stomach dropped. Curled up on the frozen ground were several tiny puppies, impossibly small, fragile, barely moving. There was no insulation, no warmth, no protection from the cold. I knew instantly that if we didn't get them out of there, they wouldn't survive the night. There was no time to think, only time to act. I took off my jacket without a second thought and gently lifted the puppies one by one, pressing them close to my chest to share whatever warmth I could. The mother never left my side. She didn't growl. She didn't snap. She simply watched me, eyes locked on mine, as if she understood this was her only chance. I cranked the heater in the truck to its highest setting. As I drove, I kept glancing back, terrified I wasn't doing enough. But at least now, they weren't alone. They weren't freezing in the dark anymore. When I walked into the house, my wife Emily took one look at me and knew something was wrong. I barely had to say a word. We moved together instinctively, like we already knew what had to be done. That night felt endless. Every hour I checked to see if the puppies were still breathing. We barely slept, and even when we tried, no one wanted to go to bed. When the first morning light filtered through the windows and I saw that they were still alive, a wave of relief washed over me. The kind that leaves you weak and grateful all at once. It didn't mean everything was okay, but it meant we had bought them time. The days that followed blurred together, feeding with tiny bottles, warming blankets, cleaning, waiting. Some of the puppies were so weak they could barely suckle. Every small improvement brought hope and fear of losing it just as quickly, and yet, little by little, they grew stronger. Months later, I stood in the yard, watching them run through the grass, tumbling over each other, full of life. There was no urgency anymore, no fear, just joy. In that quiet moment, everything finally made sense. They weren't going anywhere. They were home.